Darlings, it's Mummy, Sybil Brunson, and I'm coming to you from my front porch in my cute little house in the mainline towns outside of Philadelphia. I'm out here doing some late afternoon gardening, which is one of my favorite times of the day. I love gardening. I'm out with my sugar cookies from the Elegance Bakery. I just love this place. This bakery is absolutely wonderful. It's a deli and prepared food bakery. They have desserts and they have everything, but they have some of the best sugar cookies I've ever tasted in my life. And I'm here on my front porch. You can see where the Mandevilla was living last year and different things. And I'm digging up my irises and dividing them. So my Siberian irises have lived in these saucers all winter. And oh, there's my Starbucks. My wonderful Starbucks dragon fruit with lemonade, venti please. And here are my some of my new plants. These are Palimonium hybrid Jacob's ladders, and there they are right there, and they're about to go in. And I'm trying to figure out what to plant. But I thought I would just sort of do a beginning gardening Tour-ette for you. And here I am sitting down on my front step. You can see I'll tell you a little anecdote, a little memoir. See all this dead grassy stuff? My grandmother used to say, and there it is beginning to be weeded out. My grandmother used to have this wonderful thing where she would say that 6 months after Halloween, so that meant that Halloween was October 31st, and we were steeped in Halloween lore. Being a New Englander at heart, and genetically and ancestrally, we dated it all the way back to the Mayflower. So we had Salem witch trials and witch hangings and everything in our blood, and so she she loved that part of our heritage. She loved that kind of stuff. And she would take me out gardening as a very young child. And she would say, it's, darling, it's April 30th and April 31st. It's 6 months after Halloween. And now that's when we begin, and that in New England, our winters were a little bit longer. That's when we begin to pull out all the witch's hair. And that's what she called all of this stuff that would be the dead leaves and the dead growth that would be, strangling everything. Now, we know that it is a necessary part of nature, but at some point it does benefit the plants to pull it out. And so we would rake it out. We literally comb it out like you would comb out the fur on a collie. You'd comb it up, you'd tease it up out of there, you'd unsnarl it, and then you'd begin gently snipping it with these kinds of scissors. Tiny little needlepoint scissors that you could reach in. And so if you had coreopsis growing, you'd be picking at it. And you can see where I've already started to clear out some of it. Some of it is still there, but you can see that I've started. And eventually, this soil will all be clear, and then we can see what's really coming up, like the spooky peony shoots. Do you see the peony shoots right there? Here, let me zero in on them. They're like something out of a monster movie. And boy, when they take over a garden, they really are from a monster movie. Anyway, so I'm sort of digging up, seeing what's going to come back, what isn't going to come back. And this was a really reluctant winter. It wasn't a brutal winter, but it was a reluctant to leave winter. It's sort of like the winter version of COVID. Here we are. Here we are entering the third spring of COVID, and we're masking down again, and COVID is reinventing itself again. So I don't know what to say. Anyway, I'm just grateful that I've got catmint there and some delphiniums. Oh, and look over there, columbines are coming up, little grape hyacinths, my crocuses that I planted. There's anemones. There's all sorts of things coming up. And these are some of the new plants that I just picked up the other day at Terrain for a fortune. And they all happen to be annuals. I don't think I have any perennials in there. So I'm going to sprinkle them around. There's my forget-me-nots. I wish that they weren't like sort of, I wish they didn't have big holes in the middle of them. I thought they were going to sort of grow back together, but whatever. I'll plant some more there. I'm clearing out my all of this Pachysandra, which is sort of marching up. It's flowering though, but I'm going to clean it off, and I'm going to put a wall here, a rubber black wall, to keep it from spreading, and I'm going to clear it out so that some of this garden gets to be for the other plants. It's only fair. And over here, you see my irises have already started back, the daffodils that I planted and the little crocuses. And I'm going to plant more in there, and look at this. Oh my goodness. Hyacinths from a former tenant. And here are hyacinths from a former tenant. They are so cute. Oh, darlings, gardeners, Kimberly Young, paging Kimberly Young. What is that? What is that little plant? Look at it. Cute little white wildflowers. There's more of it over here. I think this is the same thing. If you could tell me, what I want to do is I want to nurture it. It's cute. There. Do you see it? Little white flowers. Is that the same plant as this? For heaven's sakes, I wonder if seeds or something got over there. Anyway, I want to sort of bunch these wildflowers together and have them have a home. I want them to think they have a home, and that I will plant things around them so that they can, be little statements. You could see my honeysuckle. You can see my myrtle is coming back, and it's wonderful. I've started to build a rock wall here, and I'm going to continue it on both sides and on both sides over there, and sort of keep everything, keep the soil in and do it. If I had the money, I would have some mason come in and do these walls formally, like rock walls with mortar, and really make them gorgeous like Pennsylvania. And then it would hold the soil in and make it really wonderful. You can see the mosses coming back. I'm going to trim this hydrangea. Thank you, Troy Garza. I'm going to trim the dead sticks from this hydrangea. I'm going to let it bud for another week or so and really see where the sticks are alive and where they aren't. And then I'm going to trim the ones down that aren't viable, and then just really maintain it this year. And this, of course, witch's hair, this all has to come out. And I think I may divide some of these irises. Some of these irises may be getting a little exhausted. I know these are coming out of the ground. They prefer that, by the way. I've read extensively. Irises want some of their rhizomes to be exposed. They don't want to be buried. That's a big mistake. People bury irises. They don't want to be buried, but when they do start to get exposed a little bit, it's time to think maybe about thinning them a little bit. So, and a lot of my irises, especially my Siberian irises, which have grown wild here, they just became like invasive. So I'm going to take a bunch of those Siberian irises out, because they're not even blooming anymore. They're so choked in there that they're not really blooming, and they also are not getting quite enough sunlight. This is southern exposure, but the sun doesn't hit here until June, July. So this is still shaded by the building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take tons of those, and I'm going to secretly plant them in that circle there. I'm going to rake away that hideous creosote mulching they put there, and I'm going to plant a bunch of irises, sprinkle them all in there, and especially on the southern side of this circle, and treat the neighborhood to some beautiful irises. So that'll be my little guerrilla warfare gardening thing. So that I just wanted to take you on a little tour and show you where I'm at. We've got orphan flowers here. When these little hyacinths have gone by, I'm going to come by and dig them carefully up, very carefully, and move them into a safer and more gardeny place. Maybe I'll move them over there. Maybe I'll just make a lot of spring wildflowers, and I'll just take them over there, and then I'll rearrange this. The pachysandra can go, and the crocuses will stay, and it looks like there's a tulip right there that's trying but not succeeding. There's grape hyacinths on the other side. But I'm going to just plant a lot of stuff in here, mostly perennials and scheduled perennials that will bloom and then fade when the next plant over blooms and fades. So, and I'll keep a few places for annuals, but I'm going to try and attract more bees and butterflies and hummingbirds and stuff. So this is how it looks. It's ragged, it's messy, but this is part of life, and this is part of the chaos of having a garden. So I will keep you abreast of what I do. You can see I've already cleaned up a lot of this, and we're going to have a lot of lily of the valley growing here pretty soon. I think we have a couple of shoots beginning to appear, and I'm waiting for my wonderful Japanese ferns, the Japanese painted ferns, to come back in this pot, and I hope they do. The winter wasn't brutal enough to harm them. Aren't these Jacob ladders? They're just wonderful. They're a shade plant, so they're going to go probably under the hedge things. What do I always say? What do I always say? I adore this time of day. I adore afternoons, whether it's here or in Cherry Grove on the deck. And I love the way colors. Look at this yellow over here. Do you see what I'm talking about? It, at the end of the day, the light in flowers almost seems to quiver. Look at the yellows over there. Look, do you see it? It's so strange. Look, even that little tiny pink hyacinth, look, it's almost quivering a little bit, isn't it? The colors, look at the purple over there. Where is it? Right there. See, and look at that purple. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Look, look, look. Do you see it? And I must tell you, this camera is not even beginning to approach the color, the vibrancy of that purple. It is absolutely astounding. Look at this purple. Look. Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful. So this is why I say, as I always do, to remember always to be in the world and of the world. To be in the world and of the world. To be present, to be mindful, to be grateful. Because everything you see and smell and taste and touch and hear and hold in your hand and your heart, all of it is borrowed. Everything is only borrowed. A tootler, darlings.